Hola, audiencia! Hello and welcome back to Oye Dimelo Cinema Club. And it is I, the baby Jesus. And during this recording, we are recording during December. It is almost my birthday. It's almost my birthday. And so, in honor of my birthday, we decided to watch the marvelous animated Christmas movie by Satoshi Kon before his passing, the Tokyo Godfathers. And I am here, joined me, the baby Jesus, with your marvelous co hosts, Steve Des TV, Michaela Booth, Jason Eccles, and El Don Dino. Yeah, that's right. Now, before we kick things off, I'll tell my little thing why I picked this movie. Right as you guys know, as watching this, we are now in our whole new pick a movie that has nothing to do with the previous film, and I figured that a Japanese Christmas movie about three homeless folk have absolutely nothing to do with a semi autobiographical historical period piece Rock Me Amadeus movie film. Yeah. Yeah, there's almost literally no connection. So I'll be shocked if there's even the slightest connection on whoever picks the next film because why? So we're once again we are reviewing Tokyo Godfathers. It's about three homeless people who happen to find a young infant abandoned in the trash while dumpster diving on Christmas Eve, and we see a lot of shenanigans and heartfelt tomfoolery ensues for the sake of this baby, and I, the baby Jesus, can relate to such when it comes to three people taking care of me. Yeah, that's right. So I'm gonna go into initial thoughts. Does anyone want to? I'll pass it on. I'll pass it. Steve Dez, my man, what you thought about this movie?
First impressions. Never heard of this movie before. Never seen this movie before. My question now is, and I guess this is definitely part of my first impression will be, is it a common thing to just have babies in dumpsters? Because the first time I encountered this topic was in an It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode, and I just thought it was a joke. But now that I'm seeing it in a Japanese animated film, I'm like, is this an actual thing? Like people just drop babies in dumpsters?
Well,
Uh,
my parents
That
dropped me in a major, so I don't know.
sadly it is a thing. Not usually. I think they talked about it in the documentary about the Paraguayan symphony that was in the garbage dump and stuff like that. So it's definitely, I think, a thing that happens around the world, but it normally doesn't end in a happy way. So it is a thing.
Yeah. Going back to my first impression, thank you for that, Dino. I would
Thank you
say
for
that
bringing. Thank you for being the
the
downer.
the underwhelming
Yes,
person.
babies being
Ah,
abandoned and thrown into the trash is a very real thing
yeah,
in
it
in
is. It
in
is.
society.
But just going back to my first impressions, I wish I would have watched this movie dubbed, and the reason I say that is because it was hard for me to be looking at what was happening and not be reading the subtitles. Like I was more locked into reading the subtitles than the actual action that was going on. Only towards the end was that I was like more into the action than the actual subtitles. But throughout the entire film, I was just like, I need to read this. I need to make sure I know what's going on. So that would be my only first impression thing is that I wish I would have watched this dubbed instead of subbed. But yeah.
You know, that is a fair argument. There are two parties of people who prefer subs versus dubs. Both are equally. I don't know where I'm going with this bit. Michaela, save me from this thing. What was your initial thought?
I mean, I was completely charmed by this film. You know, I'm not a big Christmas person. So I was kind of expecting a lot more like feely schlock. But like the writing's really smart. The characters are really interesting. It's not exactly like this main trio is definitely not something. They're characters that they really aren't like. Yeah, I really just enjoyed this film.
That's cool. That's awesome. Dino El Donino, my man. What do you think about this movie?
I enjoyed it. I didn't know much about it. Actually, I don't think I knew anything about it, and so I kept getting surprised because for a good while I didn't quite know where the movie was gonna go. I don't know if other people um had that same feeling. So it kept me riveted because every now and then I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming, or like, oh, we're going there. Oh, people are getting murked. Oh, that's happening. So I enjoyed it. I didn't see it so much as a Christmas movie though. I mean, it happened, during Christmas and all that, but I think it was way more than that. I think that was just secondary to the actual story and redemption and all that was going on in the movie itself. But I really enjoyed it. I didn't have an issue with reading the subtitles because I felt like there was, for the most part, you know what's going on. Like even if you were to watch it without subtitles, I feel like you would be able to kind of understand what's happening. And really strong characters. I'm sure we'll get it into later, but I was like, oh yeah, I really like the characters. So yeah, that's my initial thoughts. I enjoyed it immensely.
Right on, right on. Even I, as a baby with sunglasses, reading's not too hard for me either. But we're gonna go to one last final thought with one last initial thought. My bad. I almost fast forwarded this damn review. Jason Eccles.
Well, you all will be happy to know that I was unable to see the movie this week, so my commentary will be brief and non-existent, really. Uh, I can't wait to watch it. I wanted to see it. Unfortunately, I was traveling, and it totally slipped my mind. Probably could have just downloaded it and maybe watched it on the plane, but I didn't. So here we are, folks. No initial thought. Real sorry about that.
That's why
Radio.
you don't fly Spirit Airlines.
Boo.
I agree. I didn't fly Spirit Airlines.
You gotta fly with the Holy Spirit. 'Tis the season.
Amen.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to do this review then with as few enough. We'll try to do with few spoilers then to see if we could
No.
give
Spoil
us a
away.
good idea of what the film's about.
No. Spoil away. Do what you guys got to do.
All right, we're gonna still try to convince Jason either way. So for this review, I want to talk about the animation, the story, the characters, and then probably one last final question if I so feel like it at the end. It's more of a silly question that's not really regarding the movie altogether. So yeah, we're gonna step into the first topic of the animation. The animation for this film was made by the same production company that made fantastical films such as Paprika and Millennium Actress, which delves a lot into the imagination and like just surreal dreams. There's a few sequences in this movie in which we do see dream-like moments, and to be quite honest, out of the three films, this one is perhaps the most grounded. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the other two, but this one, I'll admit, this is not only the most grounded, but actually kind of the most. This is gonna. I don't know. This is not a detriment to the movie. This is not putting it down, but also very cartoony. There was a lot of very anime-ish type moments in this film that I greatly appreciated. This film, as serious and as lighthearted as it can be, it has its humor and it does it really well in ways that you can never do in live action. There's a moment in the film where one of the characters, Miss Hana, who is a transgender woman, she talks about her ideal man, and then you realize for a few frames her face becomes the face of this ideal man that she is speaking of, who happens to be the cab driver in the same car that she is in. So yeah, did anyone here have any thoughts on the animation whatsoever, either the fantastical, the cartoony, or just seeing the realism of being in a great grand city as Tokyo?
I'll go ahead and speak first because I'm going to be brief, like I always try to. But what really surprised me about the animation of this particular film is not only how old in comparison to where we are now, to where this movie was made was, and how real and so so present this movie is, in the sense of the characters that were in the film represented people that we see day to day today, and their expressions and everything of the characters seem to me very forward. But then again, that's Japanese animation for y'all. They've been very ahead of the game for such a long time. But it really just shocked me how amazing it was on capturing emotion and all these different things with the characters and their animation. And then seeing how long ago this film was made, it shocks me how leaps and bounds ahead it was of its time. So that's my only comment.
All right, I'll go next.
What year was this film?
The film was made, I believe, in the early
2006?
2000s, 2003, 2000, yeah, early 2000s, definitely before
2003.
2010s. So it's early 2000s for sure.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So first up, careful how you spell paprika, because this is the movie that came up when I searched paprika, and it's pretty scandalous. So there are two paprikas out there, one from '91, which is ooh la la, and the other one in early 2000s again, which is
Much like the food itself, that's spicy.
yeah. I enjoyed the animation. Again, it had a lot of realism to it. It's clearly, again, one of those anime tropes, if you will, that every now and then, like usually when there's food involved or certain emotions, their like faces get all just like crazy, which I like because it helps convey the emotion of like the characters and the situation. But overall, yeah, I feel like this movie, except for a few moments, was really uh, based in realism in our times. And like you said, with the characters and all that. But I liked how pretty much all the characters had flaws, right? Everything that you saw had a flaw in it. And yeah, and that went not just for the characters, but the locations they were in, right? And you could really feel when they were in like a ritzy place to where they were in a slum, and it really added ambiance to the movie itself. So I enjoyed the animation a whole lot.
I mean, I this this is definitely a film I want to revisit just so I can like notice all the little details that they managed to put into things. But what really struck me this time around is just how specific they were with like the movement. Like each character had like such like an individual way of like presenting themselves in the world, and like they managed to catch that like just by the way they were walking. You know, so like it's considering how small of a like it's much better quality than I would have thought going in.
For sure, for sure. All right, we'll keep it quick and simple then with the animation. We all thought it was pretty darn good. You guys got to see it. I do recommend the other films as well by the same company and director. All right, so the next part that we're gonna go into, we're gonna dive into, is the story. The story, this film. Spoiler alert! This is strictly spoiler territory at this point. Is about three homeless folks, Jin, Hana, and Miyuki. All three of them, they find baby abandoned in the trash heap while doing some dumpster diving, and the point of this film is them trying to find this baby's parents, and through basically happenstance and just pure bonkers coincidence, a lot of things start to interconnect. It kind of boggles the mind, and there's definitely some brain twisters while watching this film. So, it's crazy. I think in a lesser movie, I would definitely hate the fact that this movie is based upon like just happenstance, coincidences, and just like stuff like this is the type of movie that it could only exist through cinema, because nothing in real life can happen like this easy. And the look of these characters and the look of this baby that they find is purely magical. Was there any moment story wise that you guys liked or want to talk about?
Honestly, I think they were really like. That's why I say that it's a very smart. It's smart writing because they do as much as they can to make everything coincidental, but they're also really good at making sure that like the coincidences doesn't stop the action. There's this one part where like they accidentally bump into the woman who's supposed to be the mother, and then it turns out that no, she's the one who stole the baby in the first place, which is why like the events that happened the way they did. Like they could have easily just been like, okay, this is the mom, but they didn't do that. you know and there's like several other like times where like stuff like that happens where it's just so easy, but it turns out that like there's a detail that we didn't assume given the information that we had that kind of just changes the way the coincidence works, so the story is able to be moved forward, which is really clever. Like I can't imagine trying to write something like this.
No, it's definitely crazy. Like, because this is probably my third time watching this film, and just noticing the small details in the beginning. Like, because one could say, "Oh, it's just a MacGuffin after a MacGuffin after a MacGuffin," but they set it up. You just gotta look really hard and like pay attention in this movie. That okay, all the crazy shit that does happen, it serves a purpose, and there was a setup for it. Would anyone else like to comment on the story itself or anything that they found intriguing about the story?
Yes. So it kind of was gonna go into character. I don't know if you we're talking story, and is that from what I read in the subtitles? So this is where it could be a translation issue. Did Hana, have a sex change operation? Because they said like she didn't have like there was some comments that she didn't have her balls anymore or whatever. Was that just like like a derogatory thing or a joke, or had she key gone and done that?
I'm pretty
I
sure that
also, huh?
I think that that's something that she says that she did too. So
Okay, okay. I was because I know it came up a couple times, and I was just like, man, like, are we? Is this in a cartoon? Are we doing this? I was like, okay, and so stuff like that. I was like, kudos to the writers, and just like, we're gonna put this in a cartoon. We're gonna put this on our cartoon. And story wise, even though you were saying MacGuffin this and MacGuffin that, I love how we got to see everyone's kind of past at a certain point throughout the movie, right? Because as them being homeless people, they all kind of had their own secrets, and they're all kind of running away from their previous lives for one reason or another. So it was really cool seeing how they introduced their former selves, and then how they reacted to that old new information for us and their cohorts. and moved forward. It was smoothly. It was very well done. I thought so. I'm all thumbs, no birds.
That's all
Is
good.
that reference to film?
To
Huh?
me, to me, just to comment on the topic that we're in, which is a story. To me, what I really enjoyed about this particular film were the twists that were throughout this film. Even all the way through the ending, it was like, next episode of Dragon Ball Z. Like so. I I, I really enjoyed that. Not to spoil anybody, but yeah, that's what I enjoyed.
No, it's definitely crazy because I feel like if the, if Quentin Tarantino had a little bit of like flavor for wholesome shit, this could definitely be a Tarantino esque movie. Because the amount of twists and turns and like what the H moments that this film had, it was brilliant watching it with Michaela. Because she thought it was gonna go into some tragic kind of schmaltzy direction. Was like, oh no, girl, you have no idea where you're going into right now. And just seeing her react so like genuinely surprised, and even myself because I haven't seen the film in a while, like just surprised, like, oh shit, that's right, this happened in the movie. Oh shit, that's right, that happened in the movie. It's like it's just so damn funny. It's a better what's that stupid movie about LA?
Oh,
Uh
I the whole time I was thinking, uh, Three Guys and a Baby or
Three.
whatever that movie, and I was like, this is like
Oh my
20
gosh.
times better than Three Guys and a Baby and Three Guys and a Little Girl or Little Lady, whatever the sequel to that was. So yeah, I was just like, I would totally watch a live action version of this, and if they do, keep it in Japanese. No need to do to get what's his face involved in this. Who like just keep it Japanese and
Yeah.
do a live action version of it. It would be so awesome. Because again, the realism in the cartoon itself is there. There really isn't that many, you know, crazy bonkers uh what do you call it, supernatural, if you will, parts in the movie. Everything is
Yeah.
kind of that most of the things that we think is a supernatural whatever occurrence is kind of explained as like, nope, this is what happened. It wasn't an angel. It was a drag queen with a
Yeah.
freaking with a freaking wand. That the guy that was so beat up and drunk thought that it was an actual angel. I thought it was an angel. I thought it was a weird looking angel, but hey, who am I to judge? I've never seen an angel before.
No, neither. Well, I met a few on Hells, but oh wait,
Well,
I'm a baby
okay,
angel. That's
so
right. I'm the
that
baby Jesus.
it reminded
Jesus
me
isn't an
of one of
angel,
the
you heathen.
You
yeah.
know what?
You're the Catholic here.
Yo, whoa! We are non-secular here at Oye Dimelo Network. Says I, the baby Jesus, and anyone who
Okay,
says otherwise is a heretic.
Just,
cool.
just a little info. So the movie's from 2003, and it had a budget of $2.4 million.
Oh, that's pretty big. I feel like for a cartoon
Yeah.
back then,
That's a lot
especially.
of that's
But
a lot
I
of
don't know.
paper.
For an animation, yeah.
Well, it's
I'm
kind of
glad. I
like
feel like they. I feel like they used it wisely. They
Hmm.
didn't skimp because the
no, they
the again the art looks great. The voice acting, which Japanese, right, looked great. The translation seemed on point, so they didn't skimp on that. So yeah,
yeah, no, this film, like, oh gosh, so beautiful, so great, all around. Like, I think that you said two
Here's an,
million, right?
here's another number. In the box office, it only made 847,000.
Oh,
in what
that's
country?
sad.
Here or in
Or is
Japan
that
or world?
internationally?
Let me see.
Do 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 do.
So That's combined.
Oh
Okay.
man, that's
So it
unfortunate. You know what?
so it
It's
did it did domestic it did 366,000.
mhm.
Internationally
Okay.
it did 480,000. So total worldwide is 847. And then in like Blu-ray sales, it did 128,000.
Well, what
Well, I
about
guess.
DVDs? That was 2003, so that was DVD slash HD disc, right? It was before just your
Oh my
regular
gosh,
DVD. There was the HD disc.
I do
Um,
remember that.
well, I mean that makes sense because if it comes here and you start watching it and it's like, is that a transvestite? A transvestite wants to have a baby? Ew! Like I'm out. I'm taking my kids, and I'm never coming to see this movie again. It makes sense, right? People would I don't know, like what? How many parents would be like, "Mommy, why does that woman look kind of manly?" You know, and especially if they have to read subtitles as well. So I can see why it would have bombed back then, but
Oh yeah.
it like we said, looking at it now, it's like, oh my god, it was really ahead of its time. So
Hmm. Yeah. No.
yeah.
no, for sure. Oh well, I'm sure. I'm sure. With this is. I'm sure this is one of those. Like, I'm sure this is considered like a cult classic at this point, and I'm sure it's gained some, at least some success through its fans and viewers like us and whatnot. Okay, so does anyone else want to like
Wait, I want
go
to
ahead,
add
Des?
one. I want to add just one more piece of data I found. So they actually re-released it. I think right before the pandemic came out. So it got re-released by Phantom Events on March 9th of 2020.
So you're
Damn,
saying
right
that's
on
what
the
brought over
month.
COVID to the U.S. It was it came over on the
The film
um
stock.
It
yeah
came literally at the worst time possible.
Oh
yeah
my gosh.
I can
Yeah,
see
I
that.
guess a little sidebar kind of relating to that. Have any of you guys ever gone to those things, those Phantom events?
Yes.
I've wanted to. I want to go to. They always do the Studio Ghibli films, and I've yet to go, but I keep talking about it. Every time we go to, I feel like every time I go out with Jason to the movies, I see a poster for Studio Ghibli, and I was like, oh, we need to go watch the
Oh
movie,
my
and then
gosh.
we never come to watch those.
I haven't been
Um,
to a cinema in over 2 years now. Jesus. Baby
I went
Jesus. Hey.
to I went to here Phantom event. It was two Humphrey Bogart movies.
oh, nice.
Very nice. Old school. I
I'm
know that they're
I'm gonna,
doing.
I'm gonna see that Spider-Man one tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
tomorrow too.
depending how I feel today. I might go to the drive-in and watch that Spider-Man movie.
Spider
There's a
Man's.
drive-in
Spider
near in town.
Man's. Are
Spider-Man.
you
Anyway, but what's next, baby Jesus? Give
back
it to us.
to the movie at hand? Oh yeah. So we talked a little bit about the characters within these stories. So let's talk about the characters themselves. This film stars of course the three folks as mentioned earlier, Jin, who is a alcoholic who has a unfortunate past dealing with gambling issues and of course his alcoholism, losing his bicycling store. But you gotta watch the movie because oh my gosh, this guy has more backstories than fucking Joker. Am I right? Hey, but oh, this guy's hilarious. And also, we had, of course, we talked about Miss Hana, who is the trans woman and basically kind of the heroine of the film, in my opinion. She is kind of the standout star, the bright one in this one. Like a lot of our, we get a lot of our empathies and feelings through her wants and her needs and her.
I legit thought for a second you said she used heroin. I'm like, in what part?
Oh my gosh, that's not what I meant. You know what? I'm sure they probably brought it up. Maybe who knows? They gone through they gone through hell and back before this film. And also Miyuki, the youngest of the three, who was a young teenage girl who had an altercation with her father, which eventually led to her being homeless and basically having a newfound family with the other two. And of course, the three of them, they find the baby. They decide to name the baby Hyoko, and it becomes their mission basically up until New Year's to find this baby's parents. Even though the three of them have kind of clashing opinions on what to do with the baby and how to deal with the situation, they all have the best interests at heart, and they go through some crazy shit and meet other interesting characters. There's even a spoiler alert, they meet with a Yakuza boss and they all almost die. Wasn't that fun? That was crazy.
I feel like you're jumping a little bit. I mean, I know you get. So for me, what I thought was interesting is like each character had their own motivation, right? I think that's something that can be, I think, overlooked, right? Or else it's too simple of a plot of them just finding the baby. We'll take it onto us to find the parents, right? Because Jin, the drunk guy, his backstory is like constantly changing because it starts with him, like having a sick daughter and like the wife, and he's like he's a cyclist, right? And he like cheated to try to get money to get medication or the the hospital that the daughter needed, and he's like, well, I got caught, and then my daughter and my wife died, right? And then spoiler, coming to find out they didn't die, but he lost his business, right? And then you have the trans woman, man, I'm not entirely sure, because they kept going back and forth between, I think, sexes when talking about Hana, and like was married to a man, and I don't know if we don't know how that guy died. I don't think, unless I missed it. It was kind of implied, maybe AIDS, maybe not, or maybe the partnership didn't work out, right? And then the daughter, not the young girl, she had her own story, right, that she wasn't kind of telling. And then they find out that dad's actually a policeman, right? And they kind of almost keep missing each other throughout it. And even Jin, like they're all this kind of coincidence that the name that Hana tries to name this lost baby is the name of Jin's daughter, right? Who they also end up encountering. So we gotta also figure out that Jin, the drunk guy, was just like, I don't want to deal with a baby. Same thing with a teenage girl, right? It was like, let's take the baby to the police. We're homeless. Like the last thing we want to do is deal with a baby, right? Like we barely have any food for us, right? Whereas the trans character is like, this is a miracle. I've been talking about how I wanted to have a baby, and now I have a baby. This is a sign from baby Jesus. So it starts on that high level, and then everything kind of starts dissolving.
True, and it's so funny because even Hana bringing up that she wants to have a child, like it's brought up so early in the film. It pays off so well when this wanted desire that she happens to tell one other person catches them with the child, and the person herself believes, oh my gosh, the miracle did happen. She actually got what she wanted.
Yeah, it was
this baby.
The soup lady in the soup line at the beginning. They hear Hana talking about it. So yeah, all the characters were so fleshed out, right? And they all had stories, and they were all hiding from something, Even at the mistaken mother that they assumed. Oh my God! I can't believe we talked about it. There's Spanish-speaking characters, which blew my mind.
Oh
when
yeah.
they're speaking Spanish, the subtitles didn't come up. So I'm only thinking like, was this same like was in Japan when it came out and all that? Because you don't need Japanese subtitles for the Japanese audience. But did they not put subtitles for the Spanish characters? Because I thought that was super cool. That I was like, there's gonna be language barrier between the the Spanish speakers and the main characters, the Japanese, and just seeing them interact. Clearly, the most of us here could understand the Spanish. So that thing was awesome, and I wanted to. I don't know if I just got so like I am right now, like so excited about like, oh my god, Spanish speakers, oh my god, these characters, and like, oh, that accent is a really good Spanish accent, like this is amazing. And then it's funny when the credits roll and it's like all Japanese, all Japanese, all Japanese, and then like two Latino names, and I was super happy about it.
Yeah, they
So
got some. Oh, sorry. I
yeah,
was gonna say even those two secondary characters, the two Latin characters, happen to be part of like a rival gang or something. Like as little screen time as they got, they were pretty damn good as well. They had great chemistry with Miyuki's character because even though she has no idea what the hell they're saying, and also they have no idea what the hell she is saying, like the chemistry there was real. Like like at times it was frightening, but then once we were reassured, oh, like they're not terrible people, it's like, oh, this is funny. Like, sure, there's the
I
language barrier, but it was just those scenes were so really good.
I also love how the language that they tried to communicate in or had the best thing was English. I don't know if you guys noticed that. But like their way of like Spanish, Japanese, not kind of like this is the very few English words that both of them knew that was kind of what got them to communicate a little better. Which the little Dino sidebar, I guess. My dad, when he worked in the Ministry of Agriculture in Paraguay, when he was first coming up, and he was right out of college, so this was sometime in the '60s. There was a convention, or they were working alongside with the Japanese government. So they sent, like, it was my dad and another Paraguayan and two Japanese farmers in a house. It's like, and they were supposed to communicate together to work on like different plantation stuff and agriculture stuff. And both of them, the Paraguayans and the Japanese, were supposed to be able to speak good enough English to communicate with each other, which my dad clearly didn't, and the Japanese clearly didn't speak either. So then they had to ask for like a Peace Corps volunteer that spoke English and Spanish and Guarani to like move in with them in this house and try to translate between the Paraguayans and the Japanese. So like that, yeah, it happens, guys. It
Oh
happens.
my gosh, that poor translator's head. Ugh.
Yeah.
Does anyone
True
else
story,
want
true
to
story.
comment or talk about the characters, main or secondary?
I
They
just
were
said,
all really, really,
someone else.
they were all really, really specific, and like, I really do appreciate the way that they portrayed Hana in this, especially since it was made when it was made, because like Dino said, like the people who really cared for her, like actually did respect the fact that she uses she/her pronouns, and um, you know, it's just like it's really hard to see, like especially since Japanese culture is as conservative as it is. I'm very surprised that they like made a character like this that wasn't strictly for a joke, and like I think that it's one of the few very like tender showings of a trans person in like she's such a good character. I love Lady Hana so much.
It's also so funny because like I remember first watching it, I thought that they were gonna use her as a joke, but then you find out that she actually has background in performing, so of course she's gonna be somewhat overly dramatic about so many things, but she's so poised even when she's running. She's running like she's in the highest heels when she's not. It's all embedded into her. But oh gosh, no, it was great. Oh, and the scene where Hana reunites with her coworkers and her second family at the club. that was also that was great, and also the fact that Jin, like after taking a beating from some punks in his storyline, that they like her family happens to be the one that saves his ass after he basically leaves them, But like again, like there's so many interconnecting stories that we didn't really touch upon, but oh gosh, this movie is chock full of them. Des, you want to talk about any of the characters or any standouts that you got? Want?
I am going, since nobody really mentioned it, I am going to go ahead and say it. I am a big fan of subtle acting, and I understand that it's an animated movie, but the baby,
Subtle drawing.
I gotta say the baby. The baby stole it from me. Especially at the very end, at the beginning, you think he was just gonna be crying and whining all day. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're in a flight and you want that baby to shut up. But at the very end, spoiler alert, this baby's about to face his death. You know what I'm saying? Getting stolen yet again. And this baby says to my understanding, his very first words, or at least sentence in the movie. He says, "Bitch, take me home." And I'm like, what? That did it for me. That did it for me.
A part of me feels like it was the fucking psyche of the unhinged lady, but no, I'll admit that scene also like took me in and took me aback. It's like, did that baby just spoke? that baby.
I'm
just
like, that baby said a whole sentence.
I must have, maybe I missed that. Maybe I was too into the action that I didn't read the subtitles.
Bro, I read those subtitles there. I'm like, did that baby just said a whole fucking sentence?
that child on certain scenes, I'm like, whoever animated this scene has to be by a mother, because there's so much detail, like just small details, even like when the baby's like happy, cooing, and crying. Like there are certain scenes where it's like, this is a fucking actual baby. Like this baby's real. And I would know I'm the baby Jesus.
Hell no. So you said subtle. Did were you gonna have anything else, baby Jesus? Because there is something that I want to see if you guys got. I don't think it was super subtle.
Go for it. You brought it up. Now we got to head on.
The lottery ticket.
Oh my god! That was so brilliant. Like out of all the good happenstances and like life-saving things that this baby could have done for these three people, and just the few nights that they had to deal with this child, that last final detail was like French kiss. That was great. That was great. No, Italian chef kiss.
French
Italian
kiss. French kiss. Come on, it's a bit
screenplay tongue. You know what I meant? I meant Italian chef kiss. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. Yeah, it's past
chef kiss. It's chef kiss.
It is past baby Jesus's bedtime. But yes, I did notice the lotto ticket.
Yeah, because it's interesting. Because again, the subtle thing of mentioning, and then the dirtbag husband, that was one of the, the couple that stole the babies. Like, I just won the lottery. I have all this money. I was like, do you really? And then it just happens to be the lotto that was in the old geezer's bag that gave to Jin right before he died, because Jin shared his alcohol with him and all that. So yeah, it was a lot of touching moments also in this cartoon, I think. But
I kind of want to talk about Jin and the few characters that he met, because in his story, I thought it was really fucking weird that the old man that he meets basically looks like him. He's wearing the same clothes, the same hat, and even has the same type of bag that Jin has. And when Jin finally reunites with his daughter and finds out she is engaged to this doctor has the same fake sad backstory that he gave about his wife and daughter dying. and he actually looks like a much better, well-off version of him. So I thought it
Yep.
was crazy that in Jin's story, he's meeting basically people who are different versions of him.
Now, okay, with that, was Jin kind of spying on his daughter and like knew part of his daughter's life and stole that story, or is it just again happenstance?
It's gotta be happenstance because his reaction towards knowing the doctor's sad, tragic backstory took him so aback that I was like, no, there is no way this guy knew anything. It's just brilliant. It's great.
I did enjoy how a lot of the characters also got called out on their shit throughout the cartoon, right? Everyone kind of had like certain moments or their like certain goals or whatever, or just I guess bullshit, and they all got called out on it at one moment or another, and I just really enjoyed that as well. And give it up to I guess if you're drawing hobos, they all have to have at least a missing tooth or just gap teeth. Like that, there's no other. The difference between homeless and not homeless in Japan is gap teeth or missing teeth.
And even though you can't draw scent, they definitely mentioned that a lot of times. It was kind of
Mention what? Say that
oh
again.
the scent like this like in many scenes how they were kind of shooed away because they happened to be homeless or because they smelled bad or whatever. You know, the mistreatment of homeless folk that they have to go through.
Yeah. Are you saying fence though? What I don't know.
Scent.
What word?
Scent.
Scent. Scent. I was way off. I was like fence. What fence are you talking about? The imaginary fence between civility and like I was trying to figure out. I was like, is this a literal fence? But yes, fence.
The societal fence that they had to climb over to reunite this poor
I
fucking
know.
baby.
That's what I thought. I was like the fence that they put up around Echo Park Lake to keep out the unhoused. So I totally. Let me take this hat off. Maybe I'll hear better. All right, go on, baby Jesus, take us home.
Well, looks like we unless does anyone want to talk about anything that we missed or want to go into greater detail before we head into final thoughts and my last little question before final thoughts?
I think the last little question.
All right. It's funny that Dino brought it up in the beginning. I like this is such a different holiday film. Even though Christmas is not like badgering over or is the theme of this film, I do believe that the backdrop of this time of year is enough of this movie for me to at least equate it to being a Christmas movie. So I just want to ask the lot of you that have seen this movie now, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not much of a holiday person, but Christmas is my favorite holiday and actually my favorite time of the year. Because it's my fucking birthday. I'm the baby Jesus. I heard that it's JP's favorite time of the year too, by the way.
So can we just unpack that for a second? You said I'm not a big holiday person, and then you picked the biggest holiday of the year as your favorite. Get out of here, baby Jesus.
Oh my gosh, you don't slander my birthday like that. But anywho, because I am a fan of like holiday specials and holiday films. So I want to ask you guys, does this movie compete well with your guys' holiday films of desire? And is this now one of the films that you would probably I wouldn't say watch on the regular, but like, yeah, this is a good film to watch during the holidays.
Okay, I'll go. It's quick, nice and sweet. No, I don't. I don't see it as a holiday movie. I see it as it has way more legs than just a random holiday movie. Boom.
I mean,
And
I
legal
think
drama.
I would claim this as a new favorite holiday for me, just because like that sense of like anything can happen during Christmas, like it's such a trope that like is the happenstance actually that, or is it the Christmas magic of whatever. But no, like I really enjoyed it, and like I'll like people say Die Hard's a Christmas movie, so why can't we say this one is?
I'll go ahead and be that one person that doesn't give nobody a point and be like, I agree with Dino and Michaela.
God
So
damn it.
the animation of it does give me those Christmassy vibes. The baby on the dumpster situation does not give me the Christmassy vibes. So it could be a Christmas movie or it cannot be a Christmas movie. You pick.
Okay, so I think we gotta ask Jason since he didn't watch the movie. But from our discussion, and was there even a Christmas tree in the movie, or people opening presents? No. So Jason, is this a Christmas movie or not?
So just based on the conversation, I would assume that it was because you guys mentioned Christmas a bunch, and why would you guys keep mentioning it if it had nothing to do with Christmas? And then also there's the parallel with like baby Jesus and three wise men, I guess.
Very true.
What say
Very
you
true.
guys?
No, like
I
I
do
think you
see the
nailed it
three
on the
wise.
head, especially when you see the beginning when they're actually in the church talking
I
about that stuff.
I feel like being one who experienced said story, it's kind of almost the like a literary what's the word, reversal, because the three wise men are off trying to find they're trying to find me, the baby Jesus, and give me the presents I so deserve. But instead, these three wise folks, they're trying to find this baby's home, the home that this baby obviously does deserve. It's almost kind of a reversal, and I'm sure the choosing three characters to help this baby during Christmas time was definitely not coincidental. I'm sure that was a definite choice, by the writers and the folks who made this film. Rightio. So I'm gonna go ahead and just move this on to final thoughts. Des, I'm gonna go up with you, my man. What is your final thought after this discussion?
So after the discussion, I for sure, again, I reinstate what I did say in the beginning. I would love to watch this movie dubbed instead of subbed because it will take me more into the actual story of it. I guess because I was maybe watching it a little bit in a rush, also that contributed with it. But I did enjoy the animation of the character. I enjoyed the fact of how ahead this movie was. I enjoyed the little twists and turns around the movie. Again, one of my favorite parts was when that baby said that whole sentence. That I can't believe nobody is making a bigger deal out of that moment because it's the moment that stole the entire movie, in my opinion. Uh, and um, and just in general, like I'm a big fan, even though I don't watch as much as I would like. I'm a big fan of Japanese anime, manga, whatever you want to call it, because it's just so ahead of its time. Like just everything animation wise. Like I get a little jealousy when I see such great animation because I'm like, I wish I can do that. It's just so cool. So thanks again for recommending this movie, Baby Jesus, aka JP. And I will recommend this movie to people that are into just Japanese stuff. Like if you like anything Japanese, even sushi, I will recommend you this movie.
Right on, right on. And what about you, Dino? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, they mentioned sake, but sushi never came up. But I feel like that's always a thing in the different animes and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I can't believe I hadn't watched it before, and I still think it's more than just a Christmas movie. So you don't have to wait Christmas to watch this movie. And so much, a lot of the movies that we have picked deal with, I feel like, redemption also, right? Or maybe that's just what I see in a lot of things of people that have had hard times in the past and even in their current living situations, and find a way to do the right thing and find a way to like put their life in danger to help total strangers, right? So I just really enjoyed this movie from top to bottom, and I guess I would recommend it to anyone that doesn't have a problem with reading. So maybe I wouldn't recommend this to Steve if he hadn't watched it, because clearly he is opposed to reading.
Oh my gosh. Right on. And Michaela, what about you?
I really enjoyed it. It's something that's never been on my radar. I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to watch it, and I think it's something that I will revisit. So, yeah.
Radio. Before I give my final thought, I just want to ask Jason, being the one that hasn't seen the film, after our discussion, would you be eager, or on a scale like 1 to 10, how would you feel about visiting this movie that we just discussed?
Good question, JP. I'm going to say it's a solid 9. I really want to see this movie, and I had no clue what it was about. I'm also considering that I believe I could read there was a Christmas movie. I'll watch it in the next couple hours.
Very, very cool. Radio. So that was our film. That was Tokyo Godfathers. I, the baby Jesus, really, really like this movie. It is top grade, A+ in my opinion, animation, story, and voice acting wise. Just even though I'm not a huge fan of just happenstance and coincidences, this film, in my opinion, gets a pass just because of how beautiful it is, and also the execution of this movie. It is a movie that, like Dino said, you definitely don't have to wait for Christmas to watch it. But for me, since I happen to be a fan of my birthday month, I feel more inclined to watch it this time around and have more of the holly jolly feels. So that was it for Cinema Club here at Oye Dimelo Network. But before we all go, I think Jason got a very important question to ask.
How did you know that, JP? Interesting. I do have a very interesting question to ask Steve, as it would be. Steve, what do you got for us next week?
Next week, I don't know why you asked me, because it's not my turn. It's time for the ladies. Well, lady that's here, Michaela B13. Take it ahead. What you got for us?
Next week, I think we are going to be watching a little film called The Lady Vanishes.
Ooh, The Lady Vanishes.
The Lady Vanishes.
Not only did she okay, I was gonna say there it is. It reappeared.
Oh, Criterion Collection.
Oh, Hitchcock.
Ooh.
Hitchcock film, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh la la.
Ooh, I like trains.
See? Oh, The Lady Vanished. So, for Baby Jesus, Michaela, Jason Eccles, El Dondino, and me, Steve Dusty B. We'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, I'm JP Cerno. Thank you for watching Oya Dimelo Network. Here's additional videos right here for you to click on, and don't forget to subscribe. Isaac has a puppy, and we need to take care of it.